Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Knox Makers. Tonight is Tuesday when we, by tradition, gather here in the classroom for fellowship and fun when folks bring in their projects for us all to appreciate. We like to celebrate your successes and commiserate with your failures. We love to see whatever you've been working on so that we can all be inspired and learn together. We've got several folks who have signed up to show us neat stuff tonight. First of all, Keith, who is bringing something mysterious that I don't know what it is.
Yes, behold. I just joined with you guys as of 1st of December. I have been working in art for probably 15 years, starting off in blown glass and kind of transitioning slowly into woodworking. I'm a mechanic by trade and have spent the last probably 6 or 7 years in the bicycle industry, noticing quite a bit of waste from the boxes that the bikes come in to the packing materials on them, as well as just the components themselves. So I've since been kind of hoarding all of those worn components that the customers don't want back. And slowly kind of trying to turn them into something cool again and doing what I can to make a small dent in like what's thrown out or what's scrapped. So this was some wood that my friend was taking down a tree for his parents and was kind enough to think of me and save me some small logs. So turned this down on the lathe and then used the rear hub from a road bike that found a Pittsburgh pothole and totally caved the wheel in. So I was able to salvage the hub anyways. And then worn sprockets from the cassette, which is the group of gears on the rear wheel. I might be able to get this cleverly under there. And then I had found a television show that was a welding contest and stole the idea for the stems for the flowers from there. Happened upon some spools of 8-gauge aluminum wire at a garage sale. So you just basically clamp 3 strands in your vise, put the other end in a drill, turn the drill on, and it spins it into that nice rope. And then these were some specialty tools used for moving bearings in a bicycle bottom bracket, which is the part of the frame where the cranks spin. So use those as well as some small wooden items I found, some vintage jewelry I found in that same garage sale. And then inside, which might be kind of difficult to see, I'll leave this out on the table after I'm done if you want to get a better look at it. On your road racing bike, like your typical Tour de France type bicycle, the handlebars are taped like a tennis racket, and there's a plug in the end that helps keep that in place. So those are usually discarded every time you replace the handlebar wrap. So use those. It's like a laser etched anodized aluminum to be kind of the inside core of the flower. Yeah. Anyone have any questions at all in regards?
How long did it take?
This is not too bad. Most of it is because I use wood. Like I'm hoping to get into like welding here, so I'm basically using like wood to capture and like hold everything in place with like fasteners. So a lot of it is just figuring out how to make it hold itself together. You know, like how to arrange the components that I can still run bolts through it and like cinch everything together and make it sturdy. Probably only maybe a couple, 2 or 3 hours in the whole project. The wood turning probably took maybe only like 45 minutes, and then. Yeah, a lot of it was probably, like I said, just a couple hours of just kind of hypothesizing it. I've never been one to like sketch things out and like premeditatively make artwork. I just kind of have an idea of where I want to go, and then usually, kind of like out there, I've got just bins and bins and bins and bins in my garage of every weird little thing I've saved up over the last 10 years, and then just trying to figure out what I have to use to put it together. I hate like trying to go search out an item I need. That like I use what I have no matter what for the most part in constructing things. Yep, yes, sir.
You ever think about putting blocks in there?
What was it?
You ever think about putting blocks in there?
Oh, no. Someone said they should spin, too, whether it's by itself or, like, even just be able to, like, kind of, so, like, that's a good idea. Yeah, give me kind of, yeah, I'd appreciate that. That's another thing I was kind of hoping some collaboration. I was like, these could definitely be cooler than they are. Excellent. Yeah, thank you so much.
I don't know if y'all picked up on this, but this guy has bins of weird things in his garage. Can you imagine? Next up, we've got Russell, and it's a coaster. Coaster? A coaster.
I know Billy's disappointed. It's not a lamp. Sorry, Billy.
I think this is the first time.
Yeah, it may be. First. Oh, that's right. I did a puzzle.
I think there was a lamp following.
Yeah. Those bins of parts, yeah, we might work out a trade. I've got a lot of treasures. So I've been working on some ideas for Christmas gifts. And the first, I found these coasters at Hobby Lobby, and I thought that'd be good to experiment with. They were on sale, clearance, whatever. So I fired up the CNC at home and ended up, these turned out fairly well. You can see, it cut okay. One I tried to paint and then sand to get something down in the grooves here, but this wood, it just didn't work because it soaked up so much in there. So, plan B, go to the laser. So, this was the first iteration, too dark. The hatch was too close together. I think this was maybe 1 pixel. So that didn't work very well. Spread them out a little bit. This is probably 2 pixels, still kind of fuzzy, burned around the edges. And I had tried to use on the CNC, use not a coating, but a paper. It's a polyurethane or a poly film you put on it. That way it protects it. But the poly wouldn't even stick on there. So after a while and more experimenting, started getting a little better and a little better. So after, let's see, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. We finally got it down to where it's what I would call acceptable. These turned out pretty good. Then I did this one tonight when I got here. This is 3 pixels in the shading here. This one's 3.5. So I'm figuring 3.5 is probably about the right amount for this type of wood. But now I'm out of coasters. So, but anyway, I learned a lot. Yes, sir. What a great idea. Put a lot in it. He knows a guy, yeah. White Kia, interior light on. More questions?
As far as the shading on the letters, did it vary from wood to wood? Did you do a different kind of wood and you needed to do more of that?
No, the different shading was in the hatch, like the ones that were real close, like this was probably the hatch, these lines are probably 1 pixel apart, whereas the lines in this one are 3 pixels apart. Does that answer your question? Okay.
After you use the CNC, any possibility of using like color epoxy?
I would love to do that. I think that'd be a great way to do that. If anybody knows anything about epoxy, because I don't. Do you know Brian?
I know.
You know a guy. Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. Thank you very much.
I really appreciate you showing us the iterative process there, because I don't know if y'all can relate to this, but when I set out to do something and it doesn't turn out the first time, I really, really struggle to do it again and not hate it. So good on you for sticking with it. That turned out very well. Next up, we've got Jennifer, who's going to share her artwork with us this evening.
As many of you know, I've been sharing my canvases. This is the most recent.
Very good.
So, any questions?
What's the inspiration?
I don't know that there is any. I just pick out colors that I want and start putting it on the canvas. Yes,
Did you paint over the last one, or is this a new one?
this is a new one. So, anything else?
Did you make the frame?
Yes. Well, not the frame. No, I'm still not doing the frames yet, so this is still stretcher bars. But I do want to get with you about woodworking eventually, so, yes.
You did stretch the canvas?
I did stretch the canvas, so.
How long did it take you?
This one, the painting itself, probably less than 5 hours. So, anything else? Yes,
What did you use to paint?
it's acrylic.
Nice color combination.
Thank you. I'm not sure if I'm done with it. I might be. I'll
If you're not, bring it back next week.
okay.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing, Jennifer. And bringing up the rear tonight, we've got Jonathan, who has brought metal gifts.
If my wife asks, I didn't share this. So when a little bit of a backstory. When I first met my wife, which the dollhouse is coming along very nicely, it's just not quite at a point that she wants to share yet. But our very first Christmas, we had our Christmas gifts. We decided that we had to make for each other. And so, we'd only been dating a month or two, and so I really struggled to figure out what am I going to make her. Well, I knew that she had ducks in her bathroom. I didn't know that she had quite this many ducks in her bathroom. This was after my niece pulled the box out to play with when she was at our house last year. So I knew that she had some that she had gotten throughout the years. So I decided that I was going, and I'll set it up here, but I decided I was going to make a candle holder for her in the shape of a duck. So I was working with a guy who had a metal shop at the time, and he said, "Yeah, we can do this." I'm not sure if it's going to stand up. We can do this. And Russell, I brought you a light. We can do this. And so we set out. I think it is it's an 1/8" steel, but we set out to use a plasma cutter to cut this out. So we started off practicing because we didn't have any jigs or any for drawing out the pattern. So he hadn't cut anything other than straight lines with his plasma cutter. So we started out and we drew our names, and we ended up making several templates and cut out a couple of different ducks. Here we go. I could probably do this too. So we did, we made a template, and we cut out a couple of different ducks because we also didn't know how many we were going to mess up. So you can see here that we created the little wing, and that little wing is tigged. I did not do this because this took a lot of practice, but he used a TIG on that bottom weld to put it in because it was so flimsy or so small, and so we from there we painted it. I gifted it, and her family was doing a geocache for their family. So she had to go through a couple of different geocaches to get to this present. So it was a lot of fun, but it never got put up on the wall because something about sharp metal objects on a wall in an area where it's a slipping hazard just didn't quite line up. But it has moved with us everywhere that we have gone, and one of the cutouts from it looks like a duck as well. I couldn't find it because we haven't pulled our Christmas ornaments out yet, but it makes it on the tree each year as well. So, any questions?
When you made the template, was it also steel?
No, the template was a piece of paper that I printed out. So we used chalk. We did that, and then we used chalk on, and so like we cut 2 or 3 out so that we kind of got the pattern on how we went. So we chose the best one. Yeah. All right. Oh.
Yeah, what did you use to paint it? What kind of paint?
Just acrylic paint, spray paint. I can't remember. I think the yellow was spray paint, and then the orange was just some acrylic paint.
Well, that is a fine duck and a lovely story. Thank you for sharing that with us. Did anyone bring anything to share with us this evening that didn't make the list? Not so much? Okay. Got a couple of events coming up in the next week. I just wanted to mention briefly on Saturday, which is the 10th, we've got a hand-cut dovetails workshop with the illustrious Brian Greenhoe, which is, of course, totally sold out. So if you don't have one of those tickets, sorry. Well, I just want you to know what you're missing out on. You got to get on these things quick. And then next Wednesday, which is December the 14th, we're going to be doing a new member onboarding session. And just as a reminder, if you're currently a trial member or if you're on the path to membership, new member onboarding is a requirement. So next Wednesday will be an opportunity for you to meet that requirement. This evening, we have a special event, of course, thus the crazy seating and all of the mess in here. The special event is Toy Tech, and rather than my explaining it to you, we have a special guest. That guest is our friend, our partner, the lady from upstairs, the inimitable Mary Tom. Mary Tom.
So first of all, I want to thank all of you for coming to Adapt Toys tonight. It is our favorite time of year because when those little kids drive through the parking lot with their families and they get a toy, it's wonderful to see them. And this year, every Christmas movie that you ever watch has something that's going to keep Christmas from happening, right? Every one of them. And so this year we had the very same thing. And we almost weren't going to have Christmas, but do we ever have the best elf ever? And his name is Isaac. And for all the years that I've been at Spark now, which have been almost 7, Isaac has been here and he has helped us do Toy Tech every single solitary year. And this year, he saved Christmas Toy Tech. So you all may not know what a generous soul he is, and I should be talking about all the stuff that happens with Toy Tech, but I'm not, because I'm talking about Isaac right now and all that he does for you all and for Spark. And I have a small token of appreciation for you, which I wish was much more creative, and I made it and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't. It's a gift certificate. And I hope you all enjoy adapting the toys tonight. And if you ever want to come and watch us give them out, we do that. We'll do that on Tuesday afternoon from about 3 until 6. And it's pretty cool to watch them. And this year we've added one other thing, which is toys for children who can use their hands, but maybe have some other things that are complicated with them. And so we're trying to expand those toys. And now we give toys away all year long. So there may be another time that we do toy adaption, and we'll lean on our elves downstairs, even if it's not Christmas. So thank you all so very much for what you do for our special children and families, and especially the chief elf with the pink hair.
All right, friends. I know that actually a goodly number of you are here for the first time this evening, and I wonder how many of you have never done Toy Tech before. Who's never done Toy Tech? Wow. Okay. So in brief, here's what this whole thing is about. We've got these toys. Most of them are stuffed animals. Some of them are hard plastic. They're the Tickle Me Elmo of the season. Whatever it is the kids dig these years. Hell, I don't know. And those things, ordinarily, they got a paw you got to squeeze, or they got a tummy you're supposed to rub, or a head you're supposed to pat, you know. And so if you are someone who has limited dexterity, it may be difficult to actually make the toy go. And so what we're going to do is a little bit of surgery. We're going to get into those toys, either by unscrewing them or by gently cutting into their furry bits, and we're going to find the electronics inside and the connections where the switches are hooked up to, right? And then we're going to splice in wires to those switches so that we can have a big, friendly outside button that's easy to manipulate regardless of what your situation is dexterity-wise. We do have, I think, half a dozen or so, maybe 8 seasoned Toy Tech veterans, electronic soldering type folks who are going to be wandering around and helping everybody out. We have a plethora of tools as well as the toys themselves over here. We're going to get all that stuff set up for whoever wants to play along. And I've brought some cheesy Christmas stuff for us to watch and listen to increase the festivity. So if you're going to do something else, though, if you want to go out in the workshop and make sawdust or whatever, this is the terminus of our usual Tuesday night program. So we'll have a brief break, we'll have some crazy chaos, and then we'll get resettled down in here and adapt the toys. Thanks, everybody, for being with us tonight.